Hello and welcome to the Cameroon GCE Math panel on YouTube, a panel which consists of certified teachers and markers in ordinary level and advanced level mathematics, statistics, and mechanics. To get to us, just go to YouTube and type GCE Math panel. Please don't forget to subscribe, to share, to like, and to comment. Then you can email us at gcemathpanel@gmail.com or yahoo.com to have a copy of the question paper or any other material. To proceed, we begin with question number 1 of this June 2017 paper 2. In a concrete mixture, cement, sand, and gravel are mixed in the proportion 1:2:3. Find the fraction of sand used in the mixture. The ratio is given as concrete to sand to cement or to gravel as 1:2:3. In this ratio, sand has 2 parts out of the total number of parts. So the sand fraction is given by the number of parts for sand, which is 2, divided by the total number of parts, which is 1 plus 2 plus 3. Simplifying gives us 2/6, which equals 1/3. Question number 2. The scale of a map is 5 cm to 1 km. Express this as a ratio in the form 1:n. Note that the scale is 5 cm to 1 km, but the units are not the same. We must put them in the same units before we simplify. And 1 km is the same as 100,000 centimeters. So I'm going to replace 1 km by 100,000 centimeters. And dividing both sides by 5 centimeters, we will have the scale to be equal to 1:20,000. That is the scale. The units have cancelled out. The next part of the question says, this is different, it's independent. The scale of a plan is 1:32. Find the actual length and breadth of a room which measures 25 centimeters by 20 centimeters on the plan. The new scale given to us here is 1:32. And to have the breadth or the length, we have to just multiply the value by this 32, since the scale is already in the form 1:n, which means 1 centimeter represents 32 centimeters in real life. So the length is given by 25 centimeters times the 32, which gives us 800 centimeters, and the breadth or the width is 20 centimeters times 32, giving us 640 centimeters. Question 3. Given that P and Q are truth statements, draw the truth table for the statement P and Q implies P or Q. We first of all have to start with the true and false values. So on a table, we have for P and for Q. So when P is false and Q is false, when P is false and Q is true, when P is true and Q is false, and when both are true. Now, when P is false and Q is false, we have P and Q to be false. When P is false and Q is true, P and Q will be false. When P is true and Q is false, P and Q will still be false. And P and Q is only true when both are true. Now let's look at P or Q. It is false when both are false, but it will be true if just one of them is true or the two are true. So one is true. When the first is true and the second is false, it will be true. And when both are true, it is true. This finally brings us to the last part of the statement, P and Q implies P or Q. This means whenever P and Q are true, it means P or Q should also be true. So for the first case, P and Q are false and P or Q is also false. So it means that this statement is true for the first case. For the second case, when the first is false, the second is true. It is not true, so it is false. In the third, the first is false and the second is true. So it is still false because they are not the same. It is only true when they are the same. For D, both are true. It is true. Question 4. Find the Cartesian products of A times B of the sets A equals X, Y, Z and B is AB. The Cartesian product of a set is the set of ordered pairs. the set of ordered pairs, and in this case it is given by A times B, which means the first element is from set A and the second element from set B. So let us open out our brackets. These are the braces rather. So first element is from set A, so we have X, and second is from set B, so we have XA. Now still with X we can have XB. We are done with X. Now with Y you have YA and YB. We have ZA and ZB. This is the Cartesian product of A and B, the Cartesian product AB. If they ask for BA, just swap the position of all of the entries. The second part of the question reads, f is such that x is mapped onto 2x plus 3 on 3, a function defined on the set of real numbers. Find the element which is mapped onto itself. Note, for an element to be mapped onto itself, it means f of that element should give the same element. So f of x should give you x. If it was y, f of y will give you y. So f of x is equal to x. And we now substitute in our equation. We will have 2x plus 3 on 3 should give us 3. 2x plus 3 on 3 should give us x. So in this case, we have 2x plus 3 on 3 giving us x, and 2x plus 3 should be equal to 3x, and when we solve for x, we will have x to be equal to 3. So the element which is mapped onto itself here is the element 3. Question number 5. The exterior angles of a pentagon are given by x, x plus 20, 3x minus 50, 2x, and x minus 10. Note that the pentagon is a plane figure with 5 sides. And the sum of exterior angles of any polygon is given by 360 degrees. So to solve for x here, we have to sum all these angles, which are exterior angles, and equate to 360 degrees. So this gives us x plus 20 plus 3x minus 50 plus 2x plus x minus 10. That is equal to 360 degrees. Remember to put the degrees. And the sum of all of this is 8x minus 40, giving us 360 degrees. Bringing like terms together, we have 8x equals 400, and dividing both sides by 8 gives us x equals 50 degrees. So that's the value of angle x. Question 6. To get to us, please go to YouTube, subscribe, click like, watch, share, and comment, and even on your groups on WhatsApp, so that many other students can have access to this material, improve on their grades, and all of us will actually be moving in that mathematical world where everybody has great expectations. Don't forget to email us at gcemathpanel@gmail.com for any queries or inquiries. Question 6. Figure 1 shows a special type of prism. State its special name. The special name of this prism from Form 2 work is a cuboid. And the next thing is to state the number of edges. According to Form 2 students, they always called the number of edges the lines. So according to our jargon, number of edges just means the number of lines. And there are 12 lines in a cuboid. C, find its base area. The base area is the area of the face that is on the ground. And the face on the ground here is the 7 centimeters by 2 centimeters, which is a rectangle. And that area is given by 7 centimeters times 2 centimeters, which equals 14 squared centimeters. Finally, find the volume of the prism. The volume of a prism of this cuboid is given by base area times height, or length times width times height. And that gives us 14 centimeters squared times 2 centimeters, which equals 28 centimeters cubed. Question number 7. A cone has a height of 5 centimeters and a volume of 62.8 centimeters cubed. Find the volume of a similar cone whose height is 8 centimeters. Give your answer to 1 decimal place. So our assumption here is that the two cones have the same radii. The only thing that varies is the height. So in this case, the volume is directly proportional to the height, and we will use simple proportion. So for the first cone, which has a height of 5 centimeters, it gives us a volume of 62.8 centimeters cubed. Now, if the height is 8 centimeters, we will have x. So when we cross multiply, we will have x to be 8 centimeters times 62.8 centimeters cubed divided by 5 centimeters, and the result will be 100.5 centimeters cubed. And this answer is to 1 decimal place. Alright, question number 8. Figure 2 is a velocity time graph where the distance covered is the area under the graph. Determine the distance covered in 9 hours. As you have been told, the distance is equal to area under the graph. And according to this graph, the total distance will be the area of the triangle plus the area of the rectangle plus the area of the second triangle. For the first triangle, the area is given by half base times height. But there is something you must take into consideration here. The speed is given in meters per second, but the time is given in hours. So you must convert the time in seconds into seconds before you use. Or if you use the time in hours, at the end you convert to seconds, knowing that 1 hour is the same as 60 minutes times 60 seconds. That gives us 3,600 seconds. So 1 hour is 3,600 seconds. So in this case, the first triangle is half base times height. From 0 to 5, you have 5 and the height is 10. Plus the second one, from 5 to 8, we have 3 units. That is the width, and the height is 10. And for the last triangle, we have from 8 to 9, the base is 1 unit and the height is 10. So when you simplify, you have 25 plus 30 plus 5. When you sum, you have 60. But this answer is not correct because I have to convert it to seconds. And then I'll now multiply by meters per second to give my answer in meters. So I have to multiply this value by 3,600 to give me the answer in meters. And this will give us 216,000 meters. Don't forget. Question 9, solve the inequality and represent your solution on a number line. So we have 5 is strictly less than 4x plus 1 and less than or equal to 17. So the first thing we'll do is to subtract 1 all through. So we'll have 5 minus 1 is less than or equal to 4x plus 1 minus 1, less than or equal to 17 minus 1. This will give us 4 to be less than or equal to 4x less than or equal to 16. We now divide all through by 4 to have 1 to be less than or equal to x to be less than or equal to 4. On the number line, we have the endpoints to be 1 and 4. 1 is not included, the lower bound is not included, so we put a circle that is not shaded. And for 4, the upper boundary is included. When you see less than or equal to, it means that the boundary is included, so we shade it. We link them with a line, and that's the solution on the number line. Question 10. An observer on top of a cliff 50 meters high sees a ship at a bearing of 120 degrees and later on observes it coming towards the cliff at a bearing of 135 degrees. Calculate the distance traveled by the ship within these observations to 1 decimal place. This is a 3-star question. The first thing to do is to sketch. That is the observer standing at A and the base of the cliff is at O. The height is 50 meters and standing at that position, he observes the ship at position X. And the bearing there is measured from the North Pole clockwise. So the angle is 120 degrees. That is the bearing. He sees that ship at X at the bearing of 120 degrees. Then, after some time, he now sees it closer to the cliff. Let's say at a position Y, and the new bearing now is 135 degrees. This is how this question is sketched. And we have to calculate the distance XY. But note that this triangle is a right angle triangle. So you can use Pythagoras. Now, XY is equal to the distance from O to X minus the distance from O to Y. So we need the distance from O to X and distance from O to Y. Now, to look for the distance from O to X, we have to use the triangle AOX. And triangle AOX, angle A is 60 degrees. So tan 60 degrees, which is opposite over adjacent, will give us OX over 50. and OX will be equal to 50 times 60 degrees, which is equal to 86.6 meters. Then we now have to calculate OY. To calculate OY, we need to use the triangle AOY. And for triangle AOY, the angle A in this case now is 45 degrees. That is subtracting 135 from 180. And tan, which is opposite over hypotenuse, over adjacent rather, tan 45 degrees equals OY over 50. And that gives us OY to be equal to 50 times 45 degrees, which is equal to 50 meters. Now our XY will be equal to 86.6 minus 50, which is equal to 36.6 meters. And the question set to 1 decimal place. So that's the question. It's really very easy, but you need to do the correct sketch. Question 11. To get to us, please don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, and you can email us at gcemathpanel@yahoo.com or at gmail.com. You can equally get to us on WhatsApp, and please share this video on your WhatsApp groups and on Facebook so that other students can have access to this material. Don't forget that helping someone in need is actually helping yourself too. Question number 11. In order to plant a pole NT, a builder placed 2 supporting bars, AT and BS, against the pole, making angles of 50 degrees and 60 degrees respectively, as you can see on the diagram. Given that the distance AN is 300 centimeters, find the length of the pole NT. So let us look at the equation first of all. We have to look for NT, that's the height of the pole. To look for NT, the parameters that has been given to us, which can help us look for NT, we have AN, and they say AN is 300 centimeters, and we have the angle A. So in this case, I'll use the tangent, where tangent is equal to opposite over adjacent, and tan 50 degrees will be equal to opposite, which is NT, divided by adjacent, which is AN, and 300. So my NT will be equal to 300 times tan 50, and that gives us 537.53 centimeters. Now the next thing is the length of the bar BS. Let's look at the figure again. BS. For BS, I have the angle 60 degrees. And which other information do I have? I know NT. So to calculate BS, I can use the information of NT as well as the angle to do the calculation. So I'll say sine 60 degrees, which is opposite over hypotenuse, because my BS is hypotenuse. Sine 60 degrees will be equal to NS over N over BS. But, alright, this gives us BS is equal to NS over sine 60 degrees. But NS is the same as NT minus ST. NT minus ST. And this gives us 357.53 minus 50, because we are being told in the question that ST is 50 centimeters. So when you simplify, you have 355.10 centimeters. This is also a 3-star question. Alright, question number 12. We have the points A and B have position vectors 3i's minus 2j's and minus 4i and minus I plus 4j respectively. Given that the point D has position vector 11i's minus 2j and is such that OD equals M vector OA plus N vector OB, calculate the values of M and N. In this question, they have given us a relationship between the vectors OD, OA, and OB. So we write down this relationship. OD, which is 11 minus 2 in matrix form, is equal to M. OA is 3, 2, and we have OB to be minus 1, 4. So this gives us, equating the I components, we'll have 11 is equal to 3m minus n. So we have 3m minus n to be equal to 11, and the j components will have 2m plus 4n is equal to minus 2. So you can easily solve this one by substitution using equation 1 to make the subject of the formula. Let n be equal to 3m minus 11. We now substitute in equation 2. We will have 2m plus 4 into 3m minus 11 to give us minus 2. Open out the brackets, we have 2m plus 12m minus 44 to be equal to minus 2. Bringing like terms together, we have 14m to be equal to 42. And dividing all through by 14, we have m to be equal to 3. Now, n will be equal to, you now substitute the value of m equals 3 in the subject that you made before, and that will give us minus 2 when you simplify. Question number 13. Given the two matrices A equals that and B equals that, as such that A is equal to B, find the values of x and B. If two matrices are equal, it means their corresponding entries are equal. So in this case, I have my two matrices and I'll equate the corresponding position. So in this case, I'll have x minus y equals 0, and the next I'll have x minus 1 to be equal to 4. So for the first case where x minus 1 equals 0, it means that x is equal to y. And for the second case where x minus 1 equals 4, it means x equals 5. And if x equals 5, it also means that y must also be equal to 5, since x is equal to y. Question 14. The triangle ABC with coordinates A 33, B 53, and C 55 is rotated through an angle of 180 degrees about the origin O. Determine the coordinates of the image of the triangle ABC. You can state rather that 180 degrees rotation simply changes the signs of each coordinate. When you rotate through an angle of 180 degrees, it means that change a sign in front of each coordinate, because that is what the rotation matrix will do. So in this case, the first point A33 will be mapped onto change a sign in front of 3 and a sign in front of the other 3. And this gives us minus 3, which is A prime, the image. The image of the second will be B prime having coordinates minus 5, minus 3, and C having C prime coordinates minus 5, minus 5. But you have to make sure you make the statement that rotating through an angle of 180 degrees about the origin changes the signs in front of each coordinate for the image of the matrix, or for the coordinates of the position. This one can equally be done by using the rotation matrix and pre-multiplying. And the rotation matrix is minus 1, 0, 0, minus 1. So let us look for the image of A. You multiply A by 3, 3, you have minus 3, just like the first answer we had. B, you have minus 5, minus 3. And C, you equally have minus 5, minus 5. A third way to do this is to sketch. You can sketch, but since there is no space in this section A of paper 2, it will be best to use maybe the second method or the first. Question 15. The table below shows how a housewife spends her daily income on food, rent, savings, and others. Draw a circle of radius 4 centimeters and represent the above information on a pie chart. So a pie chart is actually a representation in which an angle represents a particular area or section. And we'll start by looking at the total expenditure. The total expenditure is 40,000 plus 20,000 plus 15,000 plus 25,000 give us 100,000. Now for food, she spends 40,000 out of 100,000 times a complete circle is 360 degrees. So you're expressing everything now in terms of angles. Times 360 degrees gives us 144 degrees. Now the second expenditure is on rent. 20,000 on 100,000 times 360 degrees gives us 720. Then on savings, we have 54 degrees. And on others, we have 90 degrees. The question states that using a length of 4 centimeters, so you have to take your compass and go to your ruler, measure out 4 centimeters as shown on screen. You now have the radius of the circle. You place 1 point and now come out with your circle. That's how the circle has to be done, because they will measure. Now the center of the circle for the first quantity, which is others, it is 90 degrees. Others is 90 degrees. Then the next one, food, 144 degrees. You can use your protractor here. The next item is savings, 54 degrees, and the last is rent, 72 degrees. So that is the pie chart. That brings us to the end of section A. We are now moving to the 4 questions in section B. Don't forget that it will be very important that on YouTube, GCE Math Panel at yahoo.com, don't forget to subscribe, to click like, to share, and to comment, and you can send an email or a WhatsApp in case of any inquiries. Now, the first question here reads, a student's pocket allowance is her profit from buying and selling 3 packets of sweets every week of 5 school days. Given that she buys each packet of 45 sweets for 700 francs and sells a sweet for 25 francs, calculate A, her selling price per packet, B, her profit per packet, C, that. Alright, so her selling price for 1 packet. She sells 1 sweet for 25 francs. So her selling price will be 25 times the number of sweets in the packet is 45, giving us 1,125 francs. Her profit per packet, she sells a packet at 1,125 and she buys it for 700 francs. So the profit is the difference, which gives us 425 francs. Then the student's weekly profit. Remember that for each week she buys 3. So her weekly profit should be this profit times 3. That gives us 1,275 francs. And then her average daily pocket allowance. A school week has 5 days. So we divide this amount by 5 to have her daily allowance, which is 1,125 divided by 5, giving us 225 francs. B part of the question, a man bought a bottle of champagne, C, and 2 bottles of wine, W, at 8,000 francs, while another man buys 2 bottles of champagne and 3 bottles of wine at 14,000 from the same shop. The same shop means the prices remain the same, no inflation. A, write equations relating champagne and wine. Remember that champagne is C and wine is W. So let's read the question again. He buys a bottle of champagne, that is 1C, and 2 bottles of wine, so 2 plus 2W is equal to 8,000. That's equation 1. Then the question continues. The next person, he buys 2 bottles of champagne, so 2C, and 3 bottles of wine, that is 3W, for 14,000. Those are the 2 equations. Now B says you calculate the value of each item. So 2 times equation 1 minus equation 2 will give us 2 times equation 1 gives us 2C plus 4W equals 16,000. We leave equation 2 the same as it is. We can now subtract. When you subtract, we will have 4W's minus 3W's to be giving us W equals 16,000 minus 14,000 equals 2,000. So wine is 2,000. We now substitute this value into equation 1. So I have 1C plus 2W. So 2 times 2, which is 4,000, equals 8,000. And my C will be equal to 4. Question 2. Figure 1 shows a Venn diagram indicating the number of elements in each region. Given that the universal set has 22 elements, find the number of elements in A intersection C. So A intersection C has 2 elements plus 4 elements, giving us a total of 6 elements. Find the number of elements in A intersection B, or the cardinality. A intersection B has just 2 elements. Cardinality is 2. Find the value of X. Since the total number of elements in the universal set is 22, when we sum all of this, it must give us 22. So we sum all the different regions. You have X plus 2 plus 4 plus 3 plus X plus 3, giving us 22. This gives us 2x plus 12 equals 22. 2x will be equal to 10 and x equals 5. D, the number of elements in C complement. C complement here represents outside the set C. And outside the set C, we have x elements, that is A only, plus x plus 3, which is outside the 2 sets, giving us 2x plus 3. So that will give us 5 plus 5 plus 3, which is 13. E, given that A intersection C is equal to D, state the relationship between the sets D and C. So A intersection C, first of all, A intersection C, there is the set having elements 2 and 4. So this relationship between the sets A and C must be D must be a subset of C. D is a subset of C because that region is a subset of C. The B part of the question, we are given the functions f and g defined on the set of real numbers as shown. Find g of -2. So g of -2 means substitute -2 in the function g, and that will give us 5 minus 2 into -2, giving us 9 when you simplify. In a similar manner, find the function f inverse. In a similar manner here means you should define it in mapping form, and secondly, you should equally give the domain following the example that has been given in the question. So we start by saying that let y be equal to 3 over x minus 2. We now have to solve for x. Multiplying both sides by x minus 2, we have y into x minus 2 equals 3. Opening the brackets, we have xy minus 2y is equals 3. Xy will be equal to 2y plus 3, and x equals 2y plus 3 on y. We now replace x by f inverse of x to be equal to 2x plus 3 on x. And this is in mapping form, giving us the domain of the denominator must not be equal to 0, so x must not be equal to 0. We have defined it in a similar manner. Now find the function f of g of x. F of g of x will be equal to f of x, in which the x has been replaced by g. So we have 3 all over 5 minus 2x minus 2. Opening out the brackets, we'll have 3 all over 3 minus 2x. So that is f of g of x. So don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, to like, to share your comments, and to equally share on other WhatsApp groups, Facebook, and other social media, so that other students can equally have this knowledge and improve their performance and give you the credit. The next question, question number 3. The first part, on the same axis and using a scale of 2 centimeters to 1 unit on the x-axis and 1 centimeter to 2 units on the y-axis, draw the graphs of f of x equals 2x squared minus 6x minus 5 from -2 to +5, and the graph of y equals x plus 3, and from your graph determine the values of x for which the two are equal. So we start by looking at the graph of y equals 2x squared minus 6x minus 5. So we have to make a table, and according to the question we have x. We now take the function and divide into its terms, so you have 2x squared minus 6x minus 5. When we sum all of that, gives us y. And according to the equation, x ranges from -2 to 5. So you have -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you take each of the terms and square them and multiply by 2. So that we have 8, 2, 0, 1, 2, 8, 18, 32, and 50. Each of the x values now multiplied by -6, we have 12, 6, 0, -6, -12, -18, -24, and -30. Now the -5 is a constant term, so we just add it all through. Now the value of y is obtained by summing the values in red. So we have 8 plus 12 minus 5 is 15. 2 plus 6 minus 5, that gives us 3. 0 plus 0 minus 5, minus 5. 2 minus 6 minus 5 gives us -9. 8 minus 12 minus 5 gives us -9. 8 minus 18 minus 5 gives us -5. We have minus, that is plus 3 now, and I can guess that the last one is 15, because a quadratic is symmetric. So we are done with the table of the function of the first. Now the second one, we don't need to use all of the values because this is a straight line. We need just 2 points, but it's good to take 3 so that in case we make a mistake somewhere, the third point comes to correct if the 3 points are not aligned. So this will give us x and then y. When x is 0, y will be 3. If x is 1, y will be 4. If x is 2, y will be 5. So we are done with the table of the second one. We now go to our xy plane. The scale has been clearly given in the question. Using a scale of 2 centimeters to 1 unit. That means on the x-axis, 2 centimeters is 1 unit, as you can see. 2 centimeters is 1 unit. But on the y-axis, 1 centimeter is instead equal to 2 units. So 1 centimeter is 2 units. And that's what we have. Now you can now start plotting. The first point, we have minus 215. Then we have minus 1, 3. 0 and minus 5. X is 2, y is minus, x is 1, y is minus 9. X is 2, y is minus 9. X is 3, y is minus 5. And x is 4, y is equal to 3, and x equals 5, you have 15. Now use a smooth curve to link this point. Don't use the straight edge of your ruler. Use a smooth curve, if possible, broomstick. So we link them this smooth curve, and that's the function y equals 2x squared minus 6x minus 5. Now for the line y equals x plus 3, we have when x is 0, y is 3. When x is 1, y is equal to 4. And when x is 2, y is 5. And we rule a straight line. We can now see the points where these two curves intersect. They intersect at x equals minus 3/4 or minus 0.75 and x equals 4.25 approximately. If your answer is not exact like this, it's okay, because there's an allowance when we are marking. Okay, so they intersect at these points. Now the B part of question 3, construct an equilateral triangle ABC of side 8 centimeters. To construct an equilateral triangle, we first of all start by sketching or ruling the line AB. So I put a dot first. I now use my ruler and rule the line AB to be 8 centimeters. As you can see, 8 centimeters. I put a dot where I stop. Now the next thing, I letter the points A and B. Now I have to construct the triangle, and I am not going to use a protractor. I need to use only the compass. An equilateral triangle is a triangle with all sides equal. So I'll take my compass and place at the point A, and I'll make that construction line. Can you see? When I place at A to construct an equilateral triangle, I open it to the end B and open that construction line. I'll also equally place it at B and do the same thing. You can see the construction lines in yellow. The points where those two intersect gives us the point C. We now use a straight edge ruler to link the points. We link the other side as well. Then we will label that point C. And each of the angles here is 60 degrees. All the angles are 60 degrees. Now the next thing is to construct the inner circle of the triangle ABC. Inner circles are constructed by angle bisection. So I'll bisect any of the two angles. Let us start with angle A. So I'll open out my compass and place at the point A as shown. Open it out a bit and make that small circle. I'll now place it at one of the points, but I can equally do it the same at B before coming back. Alright, now place at one of the points at A. I now open it out a bit. I'll make a construction line above. I'll place it now at the other points down and make another construction line. You now see that the two construction lines intersect. I will link those 2 points to point A with my ruler. I link those 2 points to point A. Then I'll go to point B and do the same thing. I already have that first circle that I already drew there. I'll place the compass now at one of the edges there and make that construction line shown. Place that other one below and make another construction line. Where these two second construction lines now in red intersect, I'll link it to point B with a straight edge of a ruler. As you can see, now the points where these two new lines intersect gives me the center of the circle. I will now place my compass at that point, open it out to any of the ends or the corners of the triangle and draw the circle as you have seen it being drawn. And that's the inner circle that's been constructed. And C, they said measure the radius of the inner circle. So I'll place my ruler and measure distance from that midpoint to any of the ends of the circumference of this circle. And you can see the value on my ruler reads 2 centimeters. And that's the value which I'm writing down, 2 centimeters. All right, question 4. Question 4. Linda is designing shorts for nursery school kids. She needs to know how long to make the legs. She measures the waist to knee length of 100 nursery school kids. The results are shown in this table. A. Copy and complete this cumulative frequency table. So the cumulative frequency table, as you can see, cumulative means that just be summing the frequencies. I have the first one is 3. There is nothing to add to it. 3 plus 6, 16 gives us 19. 19 plus 47 gives us 66. Plus 25, 91. Plus 5, 96. Plus 4, 100. Note, when you finish summing, the last value must be equal to the total number of kids that were involved. The last value must be equal to the total number of kids. Now we have to construct a cumulative frequency curve for this data. Now the way the data is given, 32 is less than or equal to L less than L less than 34. I cannot use the two values. So what we will do here is we get the mid values and use. We use the mid values. So here I will have 32 plus 34 divided by 2, that gives me 33. The next one, 34 plus 36 divided by 2 gives me 35, 37, 39, 41, and 43. Then, I can now use these mid values and the cumulative frequency to draw a cumulative frequency curve, also called an OGIF, cumulative frequency curve or OGIF. Note that for this curve, we will equally put the previous values of the previous and next class marks that we start with. Like for the first class, you have 33 to 35, is increasing by 2. So before 33, you should normally have 31, and after 43, you should normally have 45. So we need to include these two values when drawing. And the frequencies of these values should normally be 0 and should touch the axis. So that is my curve. I don't need to draw all of the x, y plane. I need just the section I need, which I have represented. Now, according to the mid-class values, when the mid-class is 33, we have 3, cumulative frequency is 3, then 35 and 19, 37 and 66, 39 and 40, 39 and 91, 41 and 96, 43 and 100. I will now use a spiral. The cumulative frequency curve is like a spiraled X, a funny X as will be shown. Link the points like that. Snakes usually call in my class a snake S. I don't know. It's funny, but yes, the snake S, they call it. Now they say we should use the graph. Use the graph to estimate the median. The median occurs at the 50th percentile. That means half the cumulative frequency, which is 50. So I'll go to 50, touch the curve, and move to the mid-class side and read the value. And this value gives us approximately 36.75. If you have something more than that, it's okay. If you have something a bit less than, it's okay. But the value should not be too wide apart. There is marking allowance or tolerance. Then D, we can now use the graph as well. In question D states Linda decides to make shorts for waist to knee length in the range 35 to 39 centimeters. So she has decided to make everything in the range 35 to 39. So estimate the percentage of her sample that the shorts will fit. Estimate. The question does not insist that we should use the curve or the graph. So in this case, I can equally use data. But I can equally estimate, but it's going to take more time than using the data. According to the mid-class and cumulative frequency, I already have, when the mid-class is 35, the cumulative frequency is 19. And when it is 39, I have 91. So using this, we have 91. The upper cumulative frequency will be 91. Even when you use the table, the graph, you have the same value. 91 minus 19 when it's 35. Divided by the total number of children, 100. This is the percentage. That is 100% over 1. So just 72% of her sample will meet these standards. The B part of the equation, given vector OP equals that and vector OQ equals that, find the magnitude of PQ or the modulus of PQ. We first of all have to look for PQ. PQ means head minus tail. The head there is Q, the tail is P. So head, which is Q, minus tail P. We now write it in the normal correct way. So the head is OQ minus OP. So head minus tail. And using the matrices you have, OQ is 5 minus 3 and OP is 2, 1. So when you subtract, you have 3 minus 4. Now the absolute value or the modulus is given by the I component squared plus the j component squared. So we have 3 squared plus 4 minus 4 squared square root, and that gives us 5 units. B. Figure 2 shows a vector diagram such that OA is small a, OB is small b, and the ratio AX is to XB is 1:3. Express AB and XB in terms of A and B. Let's look at the diagram very well. So looking at AB means to move from A to B. And it is head minus tail. So it is B minus A. Write it down in the correct way. You have OB minus OA. And according to the equation, OB is small b, OA is small a. So AB is B minus A. Let's now look for XB. The question states that AX to XB is 1:3. It means that AX is, if AX is 1, then XB is 3, which means that the ratio is 1:3. So AX is just one part and XB is 3 parts. Now to look for XB should be 3 parts of that total length. Total length of what? Of AB. XB is equal to 3 out of the 4 parts of AB. And we know AB to be B minus A. So this gives us 3 over 4 into B minus A. Alright, thank you so much, guys. I have been Evina, the PR of GCE Maths Panel on YouTube, Cameroon GCE Maths Panel on YouTube. And please don't forget to subscribe after watching these videos. Tell your friends, share on WhatsApp and Facebook, Twitter, and any other medium. Watch, share, comment, and if there are any remarks, at times they're typing errors and other things, you can always share your experiences with our team. When you send your mail, our expert will get to you in less than 72 hours. At most 72 hours, but in 24 hours, we usually get to the person. You can equally contact us on WhatsApp. And don't forget, it has been the Cameroon GCE Maths Panel with a lot of packages in additional maths, further maths, pure maths with mechanics, maths with statistics, and other colleagues. I would like to thank the bench that is working on the machines to make sure that this work is well presented for us to just come and sit and talk. Bye bye.